Okay, I've had a couple of the same question or similar questions regarding Project 1 and the use of my IT lab and submitting projects. And actually the big question is, how do I redo a submission once I've submitted one of these MyGrader projects, and how do I see which ones I missed and all that. So I'm in as a student right now in my IT lab, and I'm going to go into my Project 1 folder here. And I can find my my Chapter 1 MyGraderProject here, my assessment, and you can see here I haven't started it. So let me go in there and start that. And what this will have me do, and I think it's pretty obvious, but you download some files, you do your work, and then you upload it, and then my IT lab goes through and compares to make sure that you have properly completed all the little exercises it asks you to do. Okay, so I'll do that. I'm not going to do a whole assignment here, but I'll at least do a couple little examples here. So I get this, and I'll say download these files, and the Word document is going to be the instructions, and then here's the Excel spreadsheet that I'm going to go ahead and manipulate. I'm going to download these all at the same time, and it'll create a zip archive, and I can pull that down. So it'll say, do you want to open or save these? I'm going to save them, and what I actually have done is I've created on my desktop, I created a Project 1 folder that I can put all this stuff in, kind of my method of organizing. So I'll save, bring those down, okay, and then close this up. And I have that folder pulled up here, multitask over to that folder, and here's what I just pulled down from my IT lab. Open that up. I'm going to grab those files, so I select both those files. I'll do a copy. I'll come back here and I'll do a paste, and so I pull them out of the zip archive so I can start working with them. And let's open them up now. So here's my instructions, all right, and it'll tell me what I need to do with this spreadsheet to get my 100 points. And then over here, here's the spreadsheet. Whoops, let me open that up. And so then that's what I got to manipulate, okay? And I'll try and keep these in about the same window here. I recognize that it might be a little scrunched, but I'm hoping you'll get more of the idea here than the actual details. So step 1 says start Excel, open the file. Step 2 says on a session worksheet in cell A3 enter the date. Okay, so I'll put the start date here. And then in cell B3 it says put the date in 7/7/11. Okay, now I don't get any points for that. All right, it just tells me what to do here. Okay, step 3 on a session 1 worksheet in cell E7 create a formula that will calculate the session fee. So I move to E7. I'm going to say the session fee is going to be equal for a member is going to be equal to the non-member times 0.5. Okay, now actually I'm creating an error here. That's not the correct way to write this, but I want to show you how an error shows up. Okay, so I do that. Boom. And I've hopefully successfully created that formula, and I move on to step 4 on a session 1 worksheet. Change the value in cell D8 to 280. So I'll go to D8 and change this to 280. All right. And then it says clear the contents in cell A13. So I find A13 and I'm going to clear that. So I just delete. All right. Okay, well I'm going to stop there. I know I'm not complete. I'm going to save my spreadsheet, close it off, close off my instructions. And at this point I should have completed all activities. Of course I'm not doing that to expedite this a little bit. So I'm all done now. I will take the file and upload it back up to my IT lab. So I'll click the button in the interface there. Go find a file. You might have to dig around. Mine's right here. Okay, that's in the Project 1 folder. It's on my desktop. Say open it, and I'll say upload. And that moves the file from my desktop to my IT lab. Okay, it takes a second to do that. And then I submit it. I hit finish, submit for grading, and I'm done. Okay, so I return the course content, and you can see mine submitted here. It will update and grade it for me. Come back in. I come back into Project 1 again, and it actually told me I didn't pass the assessment, which of course is true. I only did the first 2 little activities. Let me go on and take a look at it. Okay, so if I click there, you see I'm clicking right on the hyperlink. I can do this a second time. But before you do that, close that off. As I highlight this, you notice I get this little drop down arrow here. Okay, so if I click on that, I get some other options here. One of them, I can view my grade. Here, I'm going to look at view my submission. So I look at my submission, and I got a big whopping 1%. All right, which is really disappointing. I thought I did better than that, and I'll go through, and this actually shows me this is my scorecard or my grading rubric here, and it shows me what I did and didn't do right. So 1 and 2, I didn't get any points for. 3, I didn't do correctly. It was 10 points possible. I got 0 out of 10 points, and then 4, I did partially correctly. Okay, I didn't do something right there either, right? So you have these other links here. I could look at my submitted file, which means I could download it if I wanted to. But I have these are the 2 I want you to notice here. I have a summary report. And my summary report will actually tell me what I did or didn't do. Okay, so I get to instruction 3. It says create a formula in cell E7. And what didn't I do right? I got 10 points deducted. And if I click, it tells me, actually it even shows me my formula. And when I did the problem, I just took and rather than figure out what the rate was, I figured out what the discount was. Okay, and so I have to take the rate and then subtract that from the discount, and then I come up with the right answer. So I clearly did that incorrectly. If I go down to step I4, I did some things correctly and some things incorrectly here. So did I get a 0 out of 1? What did I do wrong in A4? Well, anyways, it'll tell me here. All right, it was not submitted in the cell D8 on sheet session 1. The text was not submitted as 280, so I failed to do something there. Okay, so I got a 1%. I'm not feeling too good about my effort, and I think I can do better than a 1%. So I'll close that off. Let me show you the other tool I have is called a marked up report, and that shows me actually in my spreadsheet, and I can click on these here what I did incorrectly. So here I did something incorrectly. If I click on that, then it shows me why I didn't get points. Okay, so this was instruction 16. I might have done something incorrectly. I think the one that I did attempt to do, and it's right here. This shows me what I didn't do correctly here. All right. Okay, so one last detail here. I would strongly suggest if I was a student, I got a 1% to redo this. And you can note here, it tells me how many attempts that I have. I have 3 attempts, and I've done attempt 1 of 3. So I can close this off after having reviewed this and do the whole thing again by either downloading and starting again, or if I'm smart here, what I will do is I will just redo having this information, utilize the same file, and let's just clean up what I did wrong here. So I'll just pick one little component of it here. I had the wrong formula, so let me go in and fix my formula. So my formula here should be take whatever's in D7, right, and then subtract from it the discount rate, which is going to be D7 times 50% in this particular case. Okay, so that should clarify that. All right, I didn't do everything right yet, but this is my second attempt, and I hope I get 10 points out of this. I hope I did that right. So I'll save it, close it off, and then I'll go back in here. I'm going to upload it again. I'll say upload my completed file. I go find that file again, upload it, and submit it for grading. Return to my course. Go back in here now. Whoops, and remember I want to click here. I'll view my submission. I'll say, all right, I got a little better. My second attempt, I'm up to 11%. And I can choose that and go back through and look at the summary report here. Okay, so I got a 10 out of 10 on that step 2. And my summary report can tell me where I've fallen down on the exercise. Okay, so you got 3 attempts for each of these. Really, everybody should get pretty close to 100% on this if you follow this process that I've shown you here.